A YouTuber named Ashton Kelly is skateboarding with his friend Casey when they remember they're near an old haunted tunnel that might make for some good video. The first part is really small, so they scoot across on their boards until it widens to reveal the true, much darker entrance. Ashton is commenting on nearby spiders when they hear a low rumbling noise that I think is just the wind, but could be a growl.
It's a big spider. What the hell was that?
Eventually, they go so far down that they no longer get a cell phone signal, meaning they're truly on their own from this point on, and that's when they see a single eye reflecting light. To this day, they're not sure what was watching them. The thing is low to the ground, and I don't know if this is its whole body or just the head peeking around the corner. It doesn't move, which makes me wonder if they put it there, but it could have just been as surprised as they were. Ashton and Casey get out of there as fast as possible, but take a look at it again. What do you think they were running from? A YouTuber named King Fresh is hanging out with his crew at a wild and crazy underground car rally. Burnouts and donuts fill the parking lot for a long time until it gets late and most of the drivers go home. Those who remain have more space to do even crazier maneuvers than ever before. Still, none of them could have been prepared for what this sports car does next.
Oh, we got a Mustang right here in the wild. What do you guys think? You like it or no?
A Mustang charges straight towards a small group for no real reason other than to show off. I think they might lose control though, because at 8 minutes and 5 seconds you can see it was about to plow straight into King Fresh. The headlights are pointed straight at him and he barely steps out of the way. Carleo Axaka has a 2-year-old daughter who refuses to enter a certain room in the house at any time, day or night. She stands at the entrance and timidly looks around with her hand covering her mouth, not even daring to go inside when her mother asks,
"Wanna come in here?" Okay, it's okay. Mommy will come out.
Years later, when their daughter could talk more clearly, she would go on to recall a scary man who lived in the closet. He had red eyes and an all red and black face. Let me know if you think this is really what she was seeing in this video, or if the child is simply making up a scary story to trick her parents. I will add that, according to the uploader, this was not the only strange occurrence to take place in their household. Her son would describe a boy named Marcus, who would try and play with him sometimes. All family members would also get deep red scratches around the arms a lot for no reason at all. Eventually, they moved and have not been bothered since. 9 armed police officers in Seattle, Washington gear up and head to a home residence after receiving this urgent 911 call.
Yeah, my name's Flaming Bod, and I have 5 hostages in my house at the moment. I want $5 grand, I'm gonna kill them all.
They cover themselves on all sides and bang on the door, ready for someone to come out at any second. Instead, this person meekly answers,
"Hello, Seattle Police. Are you else in there with you?"
Can you step out for just a second? Is anybody else inside?
She says that she is alone and has no idea what is going on, or why anyone would call 911 on her apartment. They question her for a little bit and determine she is in no danger. I have little doubt that this is yet another prank, where people will report a false emergency at someone else's address in order to get a police response. This usually happens over pointless disagreements in video games, and now that I think about it, whoever called the police appears to have given a screen name at the beginning. Listen to this part and tell me if you can understand the gamer tag they give.
Yeah, my name's Flaming Bod, and Flaming Bod.
The Odyssey Paranormal Society is a Minnesota-based group of ghost hunters who become close after a number of bizarre and scary shared experiences like this one in May of 2015. While conducting a paranormal investigation at a haunted house, a ghost hunter named Sean makes a request for any spirit to make their presence known.
Wherever you can do, wherever you can manifest your energy with.
2 orbs float overhead, followed by a loud noise that makes Sean jump. The next month, they get more paranormal evidence that the house is haunted, this time in the basement, when a hideous ghost face appears on a night vision camera in the window at 2 a.m. There's also some kind of light anomaly at the very beginning of this video that could be an apparition. Light shouldn't be reflecting off of anything in a dark basement, so this is bizarre. And 5 years later, the Odyssey Paranormal Society continues to make ghost hunting videos that are beyond creepy. They are exploring the second floor of an abandoned home when they stop for a moment to try and communicate with the other side.
Could you make a noise? But that was okay.
It doesn't sound like an animal, and it doesn't sound like passing traffic. This is the voice of a ghostly woman screaming her answer to their question from far away. Paranormal activity was recently caught on video by this family in Pakistan, but I'm not sure if this is a poltergeist or just them throwing things around, so help me decide. Most of the objects come from the corner of the screen and could have been easily thrown by someone off camera. I'm not sure how they made the table come back after it was thrown against the wall, but it doesn't look that heavy, so maybe it was on a wire. I guess we'll never know for sure. After a mission to an old haunted railway tunnel, Crypto Girl 13 spied something mysterious in her footage while editing. Published in August of 2013, the Crypto Girl and her friend are navigating through the forest and mud to the mouth of the tunnel. After wading through obstacles of sludge and climbing over large branches, they arrive at the entrance. Zooming into the deep darkness, the video starts glitching out as she talks about the story of a monster living in the tunnel.
Old story that some kind of creature, take the camera. There's some kind of creature that...
Getting closer to the entrance, they hear some creepy noises inside.
What the that?
But it was upon editing the footage that they spotted these 2 glowing red orbs, which they believe to be eyes of the legendary monster. Were they closer to the cryptid than they ever imagined? Or is there something else inhabiting this old railway tunnel? Since it's been almost 10 years, I don't know if this mystery will ever be solved. On 3830 McMahon Road sits a lone white house which at first glance looks rather unassuming, but is actually a source of otherworldly evil. A place so foul that not even 2 separate exorcisms could fully cleanse its walls. Over 800 Native Americans are said to have lost their lives in the surrounding hills against federal forces, many of whom are thought to be buried under the Hinsdale House, fueling its foundations with anger. And that's just the beginning. Sometime in the 1800s, 2 outlaw brothers used this New York property as their sick trophy room. They would go after stagecoaches and left behind no witnesses. The bodies were mostly kept in the attic or left in the basement without a care. Outside, more lives were taken over the years at a pond and also at an old tree at just the right height for a rope, which was later struck by lightning. Nowadays, the heavily haunted Hinsdale House has become a location for ghost hunters like John and Amanda of Elevated Vlogs to explore whatever secrets lie within. John and Amanda are amateur ghost hunters without much paranormal experience, so their reactions are about as raw as it gets. Their night begins with a tour from the house's current owner, a man named Daniel Clays, who spared this house from getting demolished in 2015. He seems to have formed a truce with the spirits in return for saving them. The way he talks about his experiences, the more activity their camera catches around him.
There's definitely something that's
sinister, maybe darker, that comes out once in a while. But your best thing is to just ignore it and move on and go do something else. We were just standing in the kitchen and we had a camera on ourselves and they were talking about the exorcism this, exorcism that. And
Daniel leaves them to explore the house on their own.
And just kind of do a little explore before we sit down anywhere. And
did you hear that?
They also hear this noise, the sound someone makes with a hand over their mouth.
But he said he has experienced somewhat of something dark here. Experience.
They enter the room of Mary Dandy, the youngest daughter of a family who lived here during the 1970s, and find bugs on their backs, legs up, an odd characteristic that the room has become known for. An entity has attached itself here, something foul enough to attract flies and send them lifelessly to the floor without its presence. Or maybe these flies were placed here by Daniel to fool John and Amanda. Either way, the activity only seems to increase ever since standing in Mary's room. I think something runs ahead of them down the stairs into the basement. Maybe the final steps of someone trying to get away during a terrible event.
Most people that check this place out will come with a team.
Oh yeah, I'll go down first so you can show them this really cool... Did you hear that?
What was that?
And when they try to communicate with it, a scared little girl's voice comes across the airwaves.
Are you okay with us staying here tonight?
They decide to head back into Mary's room. Again, their spirit box picks up the same crying girl as before.
Are you okay with us being in this room? Can we sit here?
And this is the third time they pick up her voice. Definitely the same girl the whole time.
Are we safe?
She's following them from room to room, and maybe behind her is the sinister force that Daniel warned them to stay away from. They decided to check out the attic before they get too scared. Remember what I said about the attic earlier? Sure enough, John feels a strong hand wrap his arm to pull him forward, followed by a supernatural confirmation from a gruff male voice.
Dude, I'm not even playing, man.
Did someone touch John's arm?
Like, no lie, it felt like there was just something
Dude, that sounded like, yeah.
They flee downstairs to regroup and find they can no longer leave. Something's outside.
John.
Oh my god.
I literally heard something outside. I'm not even messing around.
Dude.
Did you hear that, dude?
No, I know. It sounded like metal tinging.
I don't hear it, but I do see it. Look again, it's a ghost caught on live stream. And even though I didn't hear it earlier, I do hear chains rattling during this part when they get closer to the door.
What's that noise?
There's nothing left to do but wait it out in the Hinsdale house. After a night of fitful sleep, they decide to explore the hillside before getting out of there fast. They're still afraid from yesterday's events, but it's their job as paranormal investigators to keep going no matter what. So with their spirit box out, they wander into the woods. Within minutes, they record a voice. I hear 3 words: I need help. Then they hear a familiar voice, the same one responsible for grabbing John's arm in the attic.
We're coming into the darker part of the woods here. Would somebody like to speak with us? Oh. Yep, that was definitely a male voice.
And this part is either Amanda's voice edited in, or else somebody is humming a creepy tune right next to John. The forest is dark and cold. I agree with John that this is a different language.
We're in the middle of the woods. There's no electrical.
They come to a part of the woods that's particularly eerie for no reason at all. It's just a feeling they both have. That's when they realize the reason for their fears could not be directly underfoot.
Did you die here?
The thought of communicating with the other side has always made me uneasy, but speaking with someone while standing on their unmarked grave, as elevated vlogs seem to have done, takes that uneasiness to a whole other level. A YouTube channel called Proper Good Games is streaming Pokemon when a game goes flying across the room off camera.
I thought when people ate quail, it was like eating a fancy.
They are both looking at each other and not moving at all when it happens, so it could not have been them. Then what she says next makes me feel like this happens all of the time. Do you believe her?
I'm not lying when I say ghost follow me around, right?
And when he goes to pick up the game, he lets out a gasp as the temperature into this part of the room suddenly grows very cold. Again, is this real or just good acting?
It's really cold, but it's
Sure, it actually is.
I stumbled across a scary elevator video from a Hindi-speaking YouTube channel. This video was the thumbnail image, and yet the video itself was missing on the list. That made me want to track down the original, and guess what? It's every bit as creepy as it looks. What looks like your average couple's argument goes way too far when he sees the door close at 8 seconds. The woman fearfully flinches, and this video is hard to watch because nobody deserves this and there's nowhere for her to go. By the time the elevator stops, her hands are tense and she is completely frazzled from the mistreatment. He goes to get her, but a stranger does the right thing and steps in between them. He immediately backs off and looks down in shame and embarrassment, but probably only for himself at getting caught. Anyone who does this is pretty messed up. I think this relationship is probably over. Anyway, this was originally posted by the Interval House in California, a place for women to get out of relationships like this one. I'm assuming this CCTV video is real, and it's something we really need to eliminate from society however we can. I never really thought about it before, but piranha tanks like this one at the London Zoo have to be kept clean, and the only way to get it done right is by hand. This diver carefully scrapes a cleaning tool across the glass with his back turned to a school of flesh-chomping fish, as if his life is not at risk. It's just another day on the clock for him, but an absolute nightmare for me and everyone else watching. And look at that, no gloves, no fear. So basically, I want to know why he isn't getting shredded right now. Some people in the comments are saying that piranhas won't chomp unless they smell red in the water, but I was under the impression that they tend to go after almost anything on sight. Maybe these ones are on a well-timed feeding schedule and are therefore simply not hungry. Everything Paranormal show gets in on the scary Randonautica video craze and goes randonauting with paranormal creepy stuff in mind.
Now, just to let you know, my intent was paranormal creepy.
The TikTok app takes him to a random address, and he waits for some creepy stuff to begin, which it most certainly does.
We've got, like I said, this dude's checking me out. I wanted something creepy. Yeah, this dude's just standing here, freaking staring at me.
Before he knows it, somebody is standing near his car. They're not moving, just staring him down. To be fair, what to him is a creepy man could just be someone wandering who is in their parking space. But even when he leaves, the man is standing completely still, simultaneously staring at nothing in particular and everything all at once. Leaked video comes from the Kaluzhsky airport in Russia. One of the planes loses all stability and wobbles unsteadily, trying its best to navigate a safe path through heavy air currents. The pilot continues to wrestle with the controls, which are becoming more unstable by the minute, and I think I see a small fire under the wheel. If he misses the runway here, there's no circling around for a second chance. The wings dip unevenly as the plane disappears behind the tree line. No one can see what is happening and they listen for the worst. A short while later, the plane miraculously emerges from behind the trees and touches down. The passengers get to live another day. A YouTube channel called Paranormal Voyages has one of the best videos of otherworldly evidence I've seen in a long time. The This haunting video was taken at the Clown Motel in Tonopah, Nevada, a place where you can spend the night with over 2,000 creepy clown dolls inside. While they're busy addressing any spirits nearby, one of the life-size clown mannequins reaches out for a ghost hunter and possibly makes contact with them. Watch its arm move on its own.
Are you a text toy?
She looks back genuinely surprised, only to see the clown doll smiling innocently at her, as if it's never moved by itself. I guess somebody could have been hiding behind the creepy doll to make its arm move, but if not, then this would have to be one of the scariest moments I've ever seen caught on tape. If you don't believe in witches, history tells us that at some point many did, and innocent people had their lives taken because of it. Published to YouTube in August of 2020, Exploring with Danny writes, "The trials of the Pendle witches in 1612 are among the most famous witch trials in English history, and some of the best recorded of the 17th century. The 12 accused lived in the area surrounding Pendle Hill in Lancashire, and were charged." Danny explores this historical area in the darkness of night, going through the flooded grounds of the forest, alongside old stone fences, above and beyond the history. The forest is spooky in and of itself. Not only do animals regularly wail while Danny enters the forest, but the remoteness, the wind and rain, and the strange and random items he comes across makes for an even spookier encounter. He first comes across a bathtub filled with dirt and a red liquid. Still, he enters deeper in the forest, only to say Bloody Mary 3 times into a mirror posted up on a tree.
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
And look who appears behind him in the mirror. Once Danny sees Mary, he starts to wander in the forest, looking for her. Whatever this is chases Danny out of the forest. When he at last arrives to his car, you think he's finally safe. Think again. If this doesn't make you fear ever going to this location, what will? Capture. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by the Caphead Bolthead, this redditor wrote, "I had just finished my basement with no furniture and was going to set a security camera in my basement. I had it running and noticed this. I could find the video, so I screen captured it. As far as tracking that thing, I took my phone from the computer screen and tracked it with my phone." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. I noticed near the end of the footage a very visible flying orb that was captured on camera. I believe this is what the Redditor is referring to. Orbs can be associated with paranormal activity, but also can be digital artifacts caught on a low-resolution security camera. I don't want to jump to any conclusions here, but the flight pattern of the orb has me leaning towards the paranormal for this one. What do you think is going on here? You'd better grab when you venture onto the grounds of a former battlefield. Take note, it's likely haunted. The YouTuber explains that he and his family were vacationing in Washington, D.C. when they visited the Manassas battlefield. The battle resulted in a large number of passings. Needless to say, this is a place worth haunting, and apparently this YouTuber's got the goods. He writes, "We videotaped there, and later that day we were watching the tape and we noticed the woman, dressed in white, walking along the fence line. There were no reenactments going on that day, and we didn't see her there." They note that the ghost is walking away from the graves of Mrs. Henry, her daughter, and her son and into a field near the black fence to the left of the house. The Henry house stands on the plateau of the hill on which the battle took place. Judith Carter Henry was bedridden and couldn't leave the house at the time of the battle. A projectile burst through the bedroom wall and took her life. Could this lady in white be Judith? You decide. Something is watching, but what that is, we don't know. TikToker Axel Loza Official shares this creepy video captured in these boys' room at night. Two boys are seen sitting straight up in bed, staring at something.
Aquí están mis hermanos. Y desde hace rato se quieren dormir, pero están viendo la misma cara que yo.
What are they looking at? Well, you're about to find out.
No sé qué hacer. No se pueden dormir. Vean, aquí está.
A childlike face is peering out from a frosted closet window, but when the cameraman goes to open it up, this happens.
Ya está, pero cuando yo trato de abrir, no hay nada. No hay absolutamente nada. Y no sé qué hacer.
Where did she go? While I would be hiding in the comments with everyone else, I'm going to check all my closets real quick first. At home. Sometimes paranormal investigators get into the biz because they've experienced their own hauntings. That's true of the YouTube team, the new reality Paranormal, who are investigating Sean's haunted home in this scary video. While listening closely in the home, they hear a strange EVP.
What was that? That was something outside.
The voice is indiscernible, but it's there. Later, they again hear a disembodied voice.
So again, we're gonna add another piece of equipment. Did you just say something? Did you just say something? Add another piece of equipment. Right before, nah, dude, I just heard a hey.
But one of the creepiest captures is during a spirit box session when this woman's voice comes through.
He'll catch us.
It sounds like she's saying, "Don't leave me." I would feel sorry for her if she didn't sound so spooky. I'd leave here ASAP. Sorry, not sorry. Number 30. The justice system in Brazil is notoriously overcrowded. As such, CCTV ghost footage like this sighting is not that uncommon. The CCTV ghost goes into a small courtyard and climbs the wall to see over the heads of people who aren't even there. After a bit of scouting, it goes back inside. This simple routine was probably repeated hundreds of times throughout the course of this passed away individual's time behind bars, and so it seems reasonable that it would continue to do so in the afterlife as well. A spirit sadly locked away forever. In the midst of the desert, this hole is hiding something. TikToker Sicaria Al98 shares this mysterious video. Happening upon a deep dark pit in the middle of the desert is a mystery in and of itself, but the sounds coming from its depths take this mystery to the next level. It sounds to me like shrieking cats, but others suggest these are the chilling wails of those who have passed on. Is this a portal to the fiery depths below? If so, seal that thing back up ASAP. YouTuber Johnny Paranormal 74 writes that they caught this on Alonzo's live earlier this evening. The live stream was captured in an empty mausoleum in Mexico. Let's take a look.
¿Escuchas? ¿En qué parte estás? No, lo viste.
Se cerró todo. Pensé que iba a tronar.
Se cerró la puerta. ¿Hay alguien ahí? Se cerró la puerta, Clary.
When he looks inside, you can see there's nobody there.
A ver qué es lo que hay adentro. La puerta está cerrada, miren. La puerta está cerrada. Bien nomás. Voy a abrir más.
Do you see what I see? If not, you're about to hear it.
Dime, estás aquí. Mira, otra vez, ¿lo viste? Alguien está dentro, Clary.
Did you hear that? I'm sure you did, because as I see it, this is one of the most scary videos you'll ever see. This is purportedly the most haunted house in Guadalajara, Mexico. YouTuber Ricky Velasquez dares to enter, but he will soon regret it. As he tours the place, he spots this.
Una noche loca. Las personas que estuvieron en esa transmisión. Perro, ¿qué es eso? No mames.
Did you see that figure? As he continues throughout the home, it seems to be stalking him.
Oye, ¿quién eres? Da la virgen.
Wherever he goes, it follows.
Pues muéstrate, no seas cobarde. Muéstrate, muéstrate, muéstrate. A la bestia, no mames. No, tranquilo.
Is someone there? Ricky keeps hearing noises, like someone is just out of sight.
¿Ha entrado sobre esto? No manches. ¿Qué fue eso?
After hearing humming during a spirit box session, things get wild.
No. Whoa. No.
I think this home is definitely haunted, but by what? I'm not so sure. Is that a ghost in the window? Posted to TikTok by Trina M. Ward in the video. Trina says she's at the Martin house and that nobody lives here. It's supposedly haunted. According to Trina, a man went crazy in the home and took the lives of his whole family. Some say they've seen the children's ghosts in the home. Trina was driving by randomly when she saw this in the window. The figure on the second floor looks like a child. Some notice a larger figure standing behind the child. Several in the comments warn that the child ghost is not what it may seem. Shay Zombie writes, "Children's spirits don't stay on this plane. It's a demon trying to draw someone in. Don't be drawn, or you might become the next person this house draws in." A child is left alone for just a moment, but still long enough for her to have a possible conversation with a ghost. Look across from her at the wrapped silverware in front of the glass and watch what it does as she speaks.
Where's going dinner?
The silverware moves all by itself shortly after she reminds an invisible person that this is not their dinner. She could be talking to an imaginary friend, but that doesn't explain how the object moved without being touched. The ghost appears to leave her alone after this brief interaction, and she happily resumes eating as if nothing happened. Exactly what it was planning to do to their food could be anyone's guess. A YouTuber named S. Zachariah is exploring a construction site when he comes across a peculiar hole in the ground that somehow feels off. He is curiously poking around with a stick when an anguished voice calls out to him from below, followed by a strong underground wind. This part definitely sounds like a person crying out for help. Soon their cries are replaced by another sound, this one much different than the first. I don't think human vocal cords could ever produce the noises that follow. A final moan is soon drowned out by the chorus of supernatural screeches. Is this person being tormented by evil spirits, or is he himself becoming one of them? A YouTuber is walking around the local swamps when he stumbles upon a tree unlike any he has ever seen before.
Pretty creepy.
A grimacing skeletal face of solid oak emerges from the trunk. Its sagging eyes, ceased brow, pointy nose with two nostrils, and squared chin are all clearly visible. You don't even have to squint your eyes or look at a certain angle to see it. It's there right away, and it's even sitting on a long twisted neck. There's no way to carve this, and the green speckles on its cheek perfectly match the markings found elsewhere on the wood. In other words, this isn't some kind of Hollywood sculpture plaster. It's an actual face found on a tree in the middle of nowhere. An abandoned mansion in Houston, Texas appears as the epicenter of paranormal activity in this clip, posted to YouTube by Hugo Blog in August of 2016. The shell of a mansion looks creepy enough on the outside, but then they enter. Wandering around the house in the darkness, at some point, the group captures on video what appears to be a ghostly young girl. They apparently didn't see her in real time, as they don't race from the house or cry out in fear. This image was only discovered after playing back the footage. Would you have the guts to enter here? Cross the threshold and find out. This mysterious capture by YouTuber Gillian Rocher leaves me with many questions. Rocher explains in the description that she saw this strange man outside her window marking a tree.
Nakita niya yung lalaki. Meron siyang pinapahid sa puno. Tago lang tayo onti. Meron Doberman. Ano yung ginagawa niya sa puno? Loko to.
The man can be seen doing something to the tree for a time before grabbing his dog's leash.
Anong plano mo? Anong inaano mo dyan sa puno, ha?
After the stranger left, the YouTuber went to investigate.
So yan. Ano yung ginawa niya kanina rito?
It looks like the guy scraped the bark from one side of the tree, leaving a mark, but for what purpose is still unclear. I'm not sure where this video is filmed, but YouTuber BioCyber suggests that the strange man is a Russian sleeper agent marking a target. This is where my head went to, although I wasn't specifically thinking Russian. This may be a spy or agent marking this site for himself or other agents to later find. What do you think is going on here? A London vacation goes from romantic to horrifying for a YouTube channel called YouTube Vlogs when everyone begins running at once at a train station. You can feel the panic taking over as multiple people shout the same questions without any clear answer. YouTube Vlogs separates from the stampeding crowd and escapes only by scrambling over a dumpster and climbing a fence to safety. Notice how only younger people are able to do this. Those less mobile were sadly left behind in the chaos. It later turns out that the evacuation was caused after a vapor device accidentally blew up inside of someone's suitcase. It's crazy to think how a tiny malfunction could have caused thousands of people to run for their lives. If everyone had somehow remained calm, maybe more information about this event could have been passed on instead of panicking. Live TV caught the earth-trembling tsunami that smashed into Japan after a magnitude 9 quake on March 11, 2011. The images that followed are pretty terrifying. The earthquake was so powerful that it was felt everywhere, from the fjords in Norway to the ice sheet of Antarctica. It was so powerful that it redistributed the Earth's mass and shifted it on its axis. Our day's length has been cut short by a microsecond. It was so powerful that Honshu, Japan's main island, was moved about 8 feet east, and as the tsunami traversed the Pacific, 110,000 nesting seabirds were taken out by the 5-foot wave. It was so powerful that aftershocks continued to hit Japan during the year that followed, 5,000 to be exact. It was so powerful that 6 years later, and the tsunami's devastation is still being dealt with in Japan, where of the 150,000 evacuees still left, whose homes were lost to the quake, a third are still in temporary housing. As for the cost of damages in US dollars, it rang in at about 199 billion, but because the earthquake was followed up by the tsunami, and both were unexpected, the 2-in-1 had devastating results. It got worse. A cooling system failure resulted from the tsunami at the Fukushima nuclear power plant, releasing radioactive materials. A horrible event in and of itself. Told you, nature can be terrifying. A street cam video from Papua New Guinea has caught something really bizarre on tape that I wanted to get your opinion on. A pale apparition appears to form under a street signal, and what it does next leaves government workers speechless. This ghost sighting could be a trick of the light. You can see the headlights of an approaching vehicle at 12 seconds right when the ghost supposedly flies up into the air. What they think is a ghost could be an optical illusion caused by rays of light bending towards the camera on a rainy day. The adventurer Abdullah Al-Anbari is back, this time exploring an underground tank that's said to be the place of many experimental rituals. Something happens to his camera at 10 minutes and 10 seconds, immediately followed by this noise. And as the same thing happens again exactly 13 seconds later, which I think indicates a paranormal presence is near. But the strongest evidence occurs when they recite this opening passage and get a terrifying response.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Judging from the spirit's reaction, it sounds like the prayer recital causes its monumental agony. This Snapchat video was taken at a school in Esterville, Iowa. You can see a deer standing outside looking very confused before it suddenly tries to get in without warning.
Watch out.
I'll explain those later.
Clearly, the zombie deer wants to get inside however it can, searching around the sides of the glass for an opening before giving up and resuming its confused vegetative state. Those inside are lucky that this deer is too small to break the glass. If this was a full-grown deer running at them, things could have been much different. Hopefully, they contacted animal control and thoroughly disinfected this door before letting anyone touch it. It's late at night and YouTuber Molly the Leg is the only car on the road. When he sees something that doesn't make sense, follow the curvature of the road and look in the distance to see it.
What was that? What? I saw somebody on a bicycle or something like that.
Up ahead, Molly the Leg sees a bright light cross the road and then suddenly disappear. What's also strange is how the street lights start flickering when this happens. He has no idea what the moving light was. It couldn't have been a car because there was nowhere for vehicles to go but straight. Molly the Leg even used Google Maps to verify this. So I'm at a complete loss. If you thought food tutorials were never scary, think again. This video, posted by YouTuber Post Content, entitled Food Tutorial, was published in August of 2019. Don't let the title fool you. You won't be learning how to bake a cake with this one. The video starts in what appears to be an abandoned home. A flashlight shines against the cinder block wall, while the man filming asks, "Do you hear that?"
Do you hear that?
The camera pans to the floor, where a box cutter lies on the ground. There are some rumbling noises and then a loud sound, after which a regular rumbling is heard, like a cell phone ringing on vibrate. The man walks down some wooden stairs onto a lower floor of the house. The vibrating sound continues.
Calm down. They're in the box.
The man tells himself to calm down and says they're in the box. What's in the box or who? The viewer is left to guess. Somehow you want to know and you don't want to know at the same time. He heads towards a far room, saying if there's anything else, he'll put them in the box as well.
If there's anyone else, I'll put them in the box as well.
Things just got creepier. He wanders around this abandoned home talking to himself and exits through a doorway, which leads outside to a forested area. He wanders through the heavy shrubbery, looking for ghosts, mumbling in a whisper.
Around in the bushes trying to find a strange noise.
He then comes across a rope. He follows the rope, then it falls dark. As his flashlight returns, you can see something red on the ground, but it's hard to tell what it is. He walks further, filming the ground. Still, it's unclear what exactly he's looking for. It appears he's arrived at a shed or barn with a vehicle and some farm equipment inside. There lies a bale of hay. Leaning against the bale is a sign that simply reads, "Hungry?" Atop the hay bale appears to be a head of cauliflower. The man puts down the camera, and you see a shadow lift the cauliflower to eat. He says eating it will keep them away, then is followed by a strange monologue including a foreign language which, as some have said in the comments section, is Danish.
Men jeg så træt. Jeg kan ikke huske en tid før jeg var I det her hus.
If this is a tutorial about anything, it's about not eating a random head of cabbage sitting atop a hay bale at night. You might lose a tooth, but the question remains, what's in the box? People go disappearing all of the time, but rarely are such strange events like this one caught on camera. A man in a library is calmly reading when he looks up and spontaneously vanishes. This looks like it has to be special effects, except this unexplained video also has an equally unexplained background. Multiple comments agree that there was once a longer version of this video from years ago that was mysteriously taken offline. In this longer version, this man's face is supposedly uncensored. Whoever this is could have contacted the police over privacy concerns. If so, as fake as this video looks, a longer version without blurred faces could mean this video is real. This video could be someone talking gibberish in their sleep, or it could be a possession, as uploader JRon2 seems to think. Listen to this part and tell me if you think she could be speaking an ancient language.
Things Antarctica entrance.
Oh yeah? What does that mean?
Music.
One person in the comments section for this video thinks she might be saying something like, "on the other side of the gods" in Old Latin, whatever that means. If a second person could verify that this was what she said, then maybe we would know if she was possessed or just mumbling. Ready to hear one of the most bone-crunching sounds in the world? This was captured at the Australian Reptile Park. The bone-crunching noise gives me the chills beyond belief. According to the BBC, saltwater crocodiles take the lives of an estimated 1,000 people per year, many more than sharks do. Would you want to run into one of these monsters? Me neither. This video, posted to the Chills Narrators subreddit by Exploring with Eric, is another random Randonautica adventure. Only this adventure took its victims somewhere that no one would choose to end up, the abandoned site of a witch's ritual. Eric writes, "Myself and Veronica unexpectedly found a ritual site and it was beyond disturbing. Directed by the app into the middle of nowhere at night, the pair wander through the wilderness to the random destination set out for them and arrive at an old rocky structure that looks like it's been around for a good while. The abandoned site is littered with recognizable graffiti alongside symbols that aren't so recognizable. Although the place appears to have been frequented by others, these others may not have all been innocent random Randonauticers or taggers, but rather more nefarious individuals. After exploring an enormous empty tank outside, they head inside the stone structure. This is where things get freaky. Inside is a bizarre and creepy sight. Encircled by a red ring with votive candles surrounding it, they discover a piece of paper scrunched up on the floor. As they attempt to unfurl it to see what's written, they keep hearing things. Veronica says it sounds like someone laughing. They decide to leave, but they take the paper with them. Once in the car, they open it and find the messages written in Spanish. According to YouTuber Luisa Gutierrez, it reads in English, "It's a trap, my spirit Marlene here. Please say my name 3 times. There also appears to be a date at the end. What does it all mean? Eric and Veronica may have just cursed themselves. It's 2008 and two friends record themselves playing video games because they're bored and live streaming doesn't exist yet. As they're getting frustrated at Mario and talk trash on each other's skills, they both fail to see a ghostly watcher at the window. At 43 seconds, a pale blue face appears and then fades away. It could be a ghost in the window like they claim, but I think more realistically, it was probably a reflection of one of their friends in the same room as them. It kind of looks like one of their friends is shining a flashlight up at their face to give a spooky effect. Even though this video has been freaking people out for over 12 years now, I think it's most likely staged. We've all done it, almost choked on something while distracted. But what should you do if you find yourself in this position while you're alone? This CCTV footage shows how a guy almost passed away while prepping a restaurant to open. The guy is doing his rounds, wiping down tables and getting everything in order, when suddenly he slows down, hitting his chest a couple times. It's clear something is going wrong, but he doesn't seem too concerned yet. He attempts to continue with his tasks for a moment, but then realizes this is serious. Walking to the middle of the floor, he bends to touch his knees and appears to be trying to stay calm. As he continues to pound his chest and bend over, trying to eject the piece of gum that's lodged in his throat, he starts to panic. He cannot breathe. He attempts to shout for help, but nothing comes out. While panicking more and more and getting increasingly unsteady from lack of air, he attempts to give himself the Heimlich with his hands. Still nothing. He then positions a chair to give him the Heimlich, bending over it and trying to fall the right way. Having already gone a couple minutes without breathing, he does this a few times. No luck. It's starting to look like a lost cause, but at the last second, the gum ejects from his throat. He is able to stand up again and looks incredibly relieved, as he should. He nearly passed away from a piece of gum. Schwinn Protocol wants to remodel his dreary basement, which only has a dirt floor. After digging many layers down, he finds this rusty old entranceway that presumably extends even deeper. He doesn't really have a good feeling about this at all, but he needs to know everything about the basement before he can get the job done, so he has to see for himself what's on the other side. He lifts the heavy cement plug, and white orbs soon follow, though I guess they could also be dust particles. Either way, he is puzzled to find a wide cavern filled with darkness. As his light traces along the rough edges of the floor, he slowly begins to piece together some unnerving observations out loud.
That's probably about a 13 or 15 foot drop. So definitely a bigger person wouldn't be able to fit down there. Wouldn't even be able to fit a ladder down there though,
So basically, this is a deep hole with an entrance that's too small for an adult, but just the right size to squeeze through a child. I'm not sure what this was really used for, but I do agree that it's weird to have a random hole in your basement that's easy to fall into and tough, if not impossible, to get out. To be fair, the YouTuber later wrote in the description that he thinks it was part of a drainage system that's no longer in use. Maybe he's right, or maybe he's just trying to explain something that he wishes he never saw. Someone could have spent their entire childhood down there for all we know. You might think you've got nerves of steel. This video was posted to the Very Spooky Video subreddit by Peconic. In the video, the likely US-based officer pulls over a driver at night, approaches the driver's side door with a flashlight to question him, but then never gets the chance. The dashcam footage shows what happens inside. A bright light bursts from the sky, causing the patrolman to stagger a little bit before he vanishes, leaving a steaming clothes behind in a pile beside the vehicle. The car then speeds off, either out of fear for what just happened or to flee the scene. Having been an active participant in the officer's vaporization, we're left to wonder which it is. The clip first appeared on the YouTube channel from Tim Beckers, who said, "I downloaded the video and shared it with a couple of my friends in the community, and they all told me the same. This footage looks real and it could change everything we know. What do you think? Could this be real or a clever fake?
A girl stacks cups while her siblings watch, but apparently something else is watching too, as a little doll rises up for a closer look. The way it sits up looks like somebody has to be hiding behind the television, but it doesn't look like there's enough space for anybody to comfortably fit behind, not even a child. Maybe they ran something through the back of the cabinet to make the doll sit up. If that's not the case, then I think it's probably time to board up that room and sell the house.
Wo Cuyahoga official are being stalked by a mysterious being in the darkness. They first capture this figure as they walk toward the haunted place. Still, they do not leave. They continue exploring.
कौन है? आ गया। ये कैसे हिली? वो देखो, वो दीवार पे रिकॉर्ड हुआ। हुआ यार, वो दीवार पे था यार कोई। वो
They then hear some creepy noises around them.
इतनी गंदगी है यार यहाँ पे भाई। एक तो आवाजें आ रही यार, ये देखो ये।
And then they see it.
यही थी ये यार।
It is like the figure is taunting them. And it all comes to a head.
हो कौन? ये क्या? कौन हो आप?
What does it want from them?
ओ पीछे वो दीवार पे।
It seems to appear and disappear repeatedly.
वो देख यार।
Only to appear again in the end. What is this figure? And what does this all mean? Only the devil knows, which is why this is one scary video they tried to hide from us. A man is videotaping an abandoned home from above when he catches what could be something paranormal as it dashes away. A misty black cloud snakes along the wall and trails off into the abandoned house, veering out of sight. The cameraman zooms in for a better look but finds nothing. I think this appears to be CGI, but the way the cameraman behaves makes me think that it could be real. He stays focused on the spot for a little bit, then draws back and studies the entire area for more activity. He doesn't immediately stop recording like most videos. This toy is supposed to sing the alphabet, but according to the description, it startles children with a deep voice instead. Even if this is happening just because the batteries are low, what's especially weird is the timing. This toy always seems to malfunction just before the last letter of the alphabet. Listen to this part and tell me if you hear a deep voice saying something like, hey. A supposedly real ghost sighting was caught on dashcam video by VBO Life while exploring one of the most haunted places in Delhi. It happens fast, so watch closely or you'll miss the scary stuff. An apparition appears in front of them and they get freaked out, or so it seems. Slow it down and at 8 minutes and 22 seconds you'll see the spirit is supposed to be in front of the car, but the very bottom of its dress accidentally clips into the hood. So while this video's creepy, I can also safely say it's not real. If you're feeling a presence in your basement, there's probably a reason. Published to YouTube in October of 2019. The uploader explains that this was the first footage she captured of a ghost on her laptop with Xbox One Kinect. She says other paranormal things occurred along with the Kinect footage, including her laptop's battery running out of juice quickly, and a plastic Walmart bag moving of its own accord, despite no draft being present. As the uploader demonstrates the Kinect's capabilities, it shows only her limb movement for a while. When she brings a doll lacking a head and places it on a rocking chair, something appears to be hovering by a bookshelf in the background, something with lime green energy. It remains there for a long while, but when the woman places the baby head on the door, a new Kinect figure appears right next to the rocker, or perhaps the same figure has moved. This time its energy appears aqua. It remains there active for a very long time and then disappears at one point. When the woman walks past it to sit down on the couch, it doesn't again reappear. It's either about time to move or to throw out that doll, or both. This abandoned home houses a real poltergeist, and YouTuber Dima from A Sip of Fear is about to encounter it. He first hears a noise as he's searching the home. Then something more clearly reveals itself. A light goes out in the next room, which is captured on a Steadicam. And then the exterior door starts banging.
Вы сейчас пугаете?
When this continues later on, Dima goes to investigate.
Дергайте отсюда.
There is nothing there though, but I think it's the absence of anything that's leaving viewers afraid. This video is short and sweet and will leave you frozen in fear. Shared by Twitter user Casos Paranormales. No context has been shared, so let's just watch. Here's what I can collect is happening here. First off, the garbage scattered around the room is oddly unsettling. But this takes the cake. I'm not sure what's exactly happening in this video, but I do want to yeet it to the sun. When you've got a place called the Dungeon in a state lockup, you're bound to run into some chills down your spine. It was taken on a ghost tour of the Missouri State Penitentiary in 2017. The first shot in the video reads, "Picture taken of the showers minutes before entering the dungeon. Notice the light at the top is clearly off. Let's take a look." Folks in the video appear to be trying to contact spirits within the building, asking if they exist. According to the video, they've received responses, although it's hard to detect the hisses, moans, and spoken word responses in the clip's audio. The video also claims that the light at the top before entering the dungeon was off, while the light turned on after leaving the dungeon. Curious, or did someone just hit the switch? Whatever the case, the paranormal seemed to be at large in Missouri State. It's probably time to plan a prison break. A YouTuber named Melmer4564 has a unique problem with her apartment home, an unwanted visitor who simply won't go away. You might not see it now, but it sees you.
Holy sh...
This small crescent shape looks like a human face, no matter what angle you look at it from. Even when the camera is fully tilted, you can still tell that is the left side of someone's face. How did this get here? And more important than that, why is it not going away? Ignorance is bliss, and sometimes it's best that certain things remain invisible to the human eye. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Miss Doolittle Tex. This video was taken at the haunted Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco. Originally posted on YouTube in March of 2020, Tex writes, I have been listening to creepy stories and been watching YouTube videos about ghost investigations and experiences since they existed, which resulted in me paying more attention to my surroundings, heightening my awareness. The Queen Anne Hotel has some history. Located on Sutter Street in San Francisco, initially built as a girls' boarding school, the Queen Anne Hotel is said to be haunted by the former headmistress, Mary Lake. Her office at room 410 is believed to be the most haunted room in the building. The uploader of the video booked this room to stay in overnight. In preparation for the stay, she bought a FLIR thermal cam for her iPhone. She duly notes that the hotel is charming as heck, and she didn't feel anything particularly unsettling while there. That is, until she thermal cammed room 410. She tested out her thermal cam on her husband, on electrical sockets, water lines, and other hot and cold spots. Then she entered the bathroom. Pointing her thermal cam towards the half-closed shower curtain, she started to see a figure in the thermal footage next to her that she believed appeared from behind the curtain. As you can see, there is her own thermal image in its reflection, and not too far away right beside it, another full-sized figure. Could it be headmistress Mary Lake herself? When going through pictures she took of the room, the uploader also discovered this creepy face in the wallpaper. Do you see it? It's almost like the room is watching you. Lodge, located in the UK, Taxel Lodge is reputed to have paranormal activity. YouTuber Moxley's Paranormal World says what they witnessed here left them terrified. Inside, they quickly start to feel uneasy.
That's the sort of feelings this place is giving off. It's like you could have sworn I heard something there. Right, I swear I've just seen something out that doorway just there.
Is their paranoia getting the better of them? Mox says he saw something in the second floor window, and viewers are seeing a shadow figure peering down at them.
There's no upstairs there.
I see it too, but there could be something up there casting this shadow. It's hard to tell. Later, when Mox hears a voice, he asks the spirits if it was theirs, and they answer.
Whose voice did I just hear then? There's no floors there. Yeah.
Many in the comments think the disembodied voice said, mine. Is this the voice of the shadow figure we saw earlier? This place is giving off creepy vibes for days, so I wouldn't doubt it. Number Seminary. Once a seminary school and then a hospice for displaced women, Madison Seminary in Ohio is supposedly haunted. With over 170 years of history, its walls are open to the YouTube team Charm City Paranormal for investigation. In one of the rooms, known as Sarah's room, the team's paranormal devices are triggered.
Let's go. Let's do it.
When one of the team goes to check out the K2 meter, it moves slightly without explanation. A moment later, they hear a disembodied voice.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Here it is with the audio boosted. Is Sarah here? What does she want from her newfound company? Whoever's spirit this is, I feel she's ready to communicate. Number 20. This small outpost, known only as the Black Mailbox, is one of the many classic mysteries of Area 51. It is actually 2 containers stacked on top of each other as shown here. One day while filming the Black Mailbox site at random, a nondescript white car with heavily tinted windows pulls up and unlocks it. They totally ignore the fact that they are being recorded, which is something all personnel from Area 51 seem to be trained to do. Meanwhile, whoever is recording decides not to approach any closer, most likely because they thought it was a government vehicle on official business. The camera person sticks around for about half a minute longer before presumably getting out of there fast. This mini golf course is haunted by so many golfers who didn't win their round. Published to YouTube by Urban Ghosts Urban Exploration in April of 2021, Joe, Rob, and Kate are up for a course in fear as they explore this abandoned mini golf in the middle of a lightning storm. The whole thing kicks off with nothing but whispers. In the beginning, as they explore a room that's been torn apart, you can hear this whispering in the background. As they continue to explore, there's another voice that sounds like it says, "That's creepy," as they come across a stuffed teddy bear. Joe notes that the teddy bear wasn't here when he last visited the place. As they move glass off the teddy a short while later, 2 distinct knocks are heard. Despite this, they continue exploring. At this point, in a darkened room, 2 lights shine clearly above Joe's head, but these could either be a passing vehicle's headlights shining through a window, or they might be from one of the crew's devices. At the same time, it sounds like a faint voice is heard.
Either road noise or somebody potentially walking around out there, and I think it's a little whisper.
As Joe is talking a short while later, something or someone is heard speaking over him.
Necrophonic app, I'm gonna turn.
The voice is loud but muddled, and the crew seems to have heard it coming from outside the room. They decide to explore the ceiling air shaft. For a moment, you can hear weird laughter.
Who's up there?
Later, while filming inside the same air shaft, a distinct boom is heard which causes Kate to let out a terrifying scream. This, of course, scares the entire crew. Later, whispers are heard in the air shaft again. Then they film up inside the air shaft. This is when you can hear a muffled female voice. It sounds like it's saying "move on back" shortly after. Another knocking sound. The crew believes there's a spirit up in the air shaft. They are listening deeply, and at this point it sounds like a woman singing, but they don't appear to hear her on site. YouTuber Stella Gomez also notes that the sunray has been moved against the wall at the end of the video. It wasn't there to begin with, so unless the crew moved it, then who did? Being as they usually don't disturb anything, its movement is all the more disturbing. Is the lady in the air shaft toying around with them? Walking home in the dark is never a treat. It's even worse if you cross paths with something like this. Posted to YouTube in February of 2018 by Rohit Mukherjee. This ghost sighting was caught on camera in India. The YouTuber writes that one of his uncle's friends captured the creature on camera while returning home late from work with a friend. He writes, as he was coming down the road, he heard some noises, mostly shrieks, and he thought it might be an animal or something. As he was looking around, he saw something on the trees and pointed his mobile camera towards it, and then he saw this mysterious creature. The footage does show a figure in the trees. It looks like a human outline. At first, you assume it's just some oddity in the shadows, but then it moves. After seeing this creature, the men say, "Bug, bug," which means run, run. They then raced home and sent the video to Rohit's uncle. What do you think this figure could be? A ghost, an evil shadow, or some other strange entity? Or maybe it's just a monkey? Girl and the person filming were innocently playing around outside, but they were not alone. Published to YouTube in May of 2019, nightmares abound after watching this video, which is gaining attention in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. The clip shows a girl playing with a ball outside a yellow fenced-in building. She runs up to the fence, behind which a pair of swings are wrapped together in knots. After a moment, the girl points at something or someone behind the camera person, who turns around to see what she's indicating. There is no one in the distance across the field, but there is someone right behind her. The ghoul of a girl appears semi-transparent as the camera shot falls. We can only imagine the camera person fled in fear from this thing she was not meant to see. Tag, you're it. Game over. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.